The same thing, by the way, that happened in Russia in with parallel import, or basically you are like on the governmental level, basically given okay to basically steal like intellectual property or just general property of other companies, basically pirate things. Um, it is basically done in Belarus as well. So what I mean, for example, when movie companies, right, theater companies, right, like the distributors exited Russian market and Belarusian market as well. So you can't watch anything legally in like movie theaters, for example. And so now, apparently, I mean, it was done in Russia already, and now apparently it's done in Belarus as well. Now those like theaters can like illegally download some whatever movies or whatever and just display them in the theaters, which is insane if you ask me, which once again just shows that these people are now living in one day. Basically, they're not thinking even a month or two in advance, even half a year, even 1 year in advance. They're just living in the now. They're just living in the now because these blatant kind of disregard of intellectual property and wish of the companies and the businesses who were operating here and who said like, okay, we're not going to do it, and then the government comes and says like, well, you're not going to do it, we're going to do it ourselves. Who gives a fuck? Take your property, take your intellectual property, and we're going to use it anyway. It doesn't matter if you allow us to do this or not. This blatant disregard of intellectual property, like I'm saying, will just send this region, Belarus and in Russia, not like 10 years back. It will send it like 30 years back to USSR. This is what those old fucks in the government in Russian and Belarusian government, they are from USSR. They still think USSR was the best place, and they're right now trying to rebuild it. Basically, only they this time around have all the luxuries, and the rest of the population will fucking suck dick, basically. But they don't give a fuck because they've stolen so much money and they've already built so much, acquired so much wealth and built so much things, thanks to those Western technologies and Western things, that they don't care anymore. They can live the rest of their pathetic fucking lives. They're all like 70 plus right now, so they're not gonna live long. Let's put it that way. Next whatever 10, if they're lucky, maybe 20 years. Now they just can chill basically, and they don't care anymore in which condition they will leave the countries. They literally took the countries from USSR period basically, and they will basically 20, 30 years later they will reverted back to USSR, which is just despicable because because it's despicable for me personally because I hate, absolutely despise these countries, both Russia and Belarus, and so for me it's like it's so despicable that I was born here and I now have to suffer because of decisions of my parents, really, who were stupid enough to not realize that we should exit these pieces of fucking shit countries, or at least send our send our kids out of these fucking places. It's so sad. Anyway, so there is that. Basically, pirating and stealing property of other companies, of international companies, it's mostly obviously about them, is now basically allowed in Belarus. They're just doing the same thing as Russia. They're doing hand in hand in so many aspects. It's just unreal, really. In worst aspects, absolutely worst aspects. It would be good if they would be advancing and innovating and creating something amazing and great, both Russian and Polish. But no, they're just doing garbage after garbage after garbage after garbage. So there is that. Okay. Um. Okay.